So chat. Um, let's make this video more of a thought process, thought sharing thing. So, fun fact, so fun story, I guess. Um, a few months ago, OpenAI jokingly said that the United States should pay for all their expenses. U.S. representative basically answered to that to Sam Altman when he said that, and basically said, "Ha ha ha, no." And that's one part I stay. But then I watched one video from Julian Whiteley. He makes good videos. I don't like that he uses AI, but whatever. And he said the rest part of the quote that I didn't know the rest of the quote. Basically, he said, "Haha, no, comma, because if one falls, there is five that will replace them." Basically saying that if an AI company fails or goes in bankruptcy and whatever, there will be other five companies that will be able to replace them, that will be able to go forward into their sorry into their AI goals and things that the US is pushing for. So this is the why I bring all this is to make a big question, to make a question in the air. Who will be these companies that will be able to replace OpenAI if they go under? Who will be these five companies that this US representative said that will be able to replace OpenAI or whoever falls to? Now, like something I keep saying that I will do. Like the biggest difference between the dot-com bubble and the AI bubble is dot-com bubble. Most of them were startups. Most of them were new, recent companies. Um, Most of them weren't the biggest companies in history, like it is in the AI bubble. So this is the big difference. So what I'm going to is we actually have a lineup. Like we don't have to speculate. We actually have a lineup of AI companies that may be able to replace OpenAI if they fall. But bigger question is, can they? Of course, the first one is Anthropic, you know. But the thing is, like, Anthropic is also like related into AI stuff, into the AI bubble stuff. They want their IPO as fast as possible because if the bubble bursts, because if the bubble bursts after that, they will be losing a lot of money. So I don't Anthropic. Um, no, basically no. And then you are going to the other only AI companies, and like I said in my video of AI bubble explain the companies, I think that was the name. Um, well, you will see that it will not be an only AI company because if the bubble bursts, all these companies will basically go down. So they basically um, will be over. So we cross them. Who else is in the table? Well, the other big tech companies like Amazon, like Microsoft, like Google. Well, I said Amazon by accident. Amazon doesn't develop AI, so cross also. So we basically have Google and Microsoft. Microsoft, they are way behind all of them. At least that's what the people are saying. For me, every fucking clan core is the fucking same type shit. So yeah, um, it's I don't think it's going to be them because they are really full. They are away, and like I said, like this ecosystem that the AI, like how bubbles work, and how this ecosystem works, basically revolves into if one falls, everyone falls. That's it. If the narrative, and also I also want to, for example, I will make a full video about this. um, about the Korean AI bubble that happened because I went into a full breakthrough the other day, and I think it's like interesting to analyze that and to see what's going to happen. Basically, like I said, part of the bubble, a big important part of the bubble, is narrative. Is the narrative how the media talks about that, how the people around you talks about that, how the companies itself talk about this, and how they all talk about this. They all talk about this in the sense of this is the future, this is going to change everything, whatever, you know. That's like part of the narrative. But if that narrative also bursts, if that narrative is in doubt, the whole system falls. What I mean by that is like a little preview of the South Korea AI bubble. Part of why that bubble burst, well, the market went up, 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 up. China created like something that may be able to create chips maybe in like 4 or 5 years. Like even in the explanation I saw say yeah, China is still way behind. That's why they want Taiwan. But the funny fact that the narrative basically was in entering doubt, you know, because the narrative entered in doubt, and everyone said, well, China may in 5 years be able to compete with Korea in chips and whatever. That will make the bubble burst. That will make the number go down. Um, so yeah, if OpenAI goes under, the narrative also under, and in that case, I don't know. Maybe all these bigger companies will go down. So who knows? Jenny, who knows what the future is going to bring? But my point is, because of that, Microsoft, I don't think so. Maybe because of the name recognition. If you ignore that, I don't think so. And then we have Facebook. Facebook, mm, generally, no one uses fucking Meta AI. No one. So yeah. And then we have Google. And this is like my biggest. Um, it's not my biggest question, but it's like one concern I have is Google. For example, like Google, if you see like that graphic of the circular economy, Google is not in that. Google is actually like trying to make like a self-sufficient AI company. In a sense of Google really doesn't want to create and depend on Nvidia. They try to make their own stuff at home, but they still need they slow and I was that's something like I thought a lot, but then they slowly enter into that circular economy with paying XAI, Grok, Elon Musk, for basically computer power. But the interesting part of that contract that I don't see many people pointing out is the contract basically said AI we can basically break the contract whenever we want, however we want, we don't have to say why. So even in that contract that yeah, Elon Musk was showing off, it has a big asterisk in there. You know, like they might if tomorrow the bubble bursts, they will break the contract. That's it. So and then they also give money to Anthropic. So you have Google is slowly entering into the circular economy because they need to let the party going. For a good example is like they recently lost many parts of the talent. I don't forgot if it was to Anthropic, but the point is they lost many other talent, major talent, to this AI company, and then they invested in that AI company. Usually, you don't give money to the competition, especially after the competition just stole one of your biggest assets, your yeah, like your human talent assets. You don't like it's as if someone punched you in the face and then you give them $5. Like it doesn't make sense. So and then you consider they are one of the biggest like the investors into AI and they haven't seen much of the revenue like I said in my previous video. So you see all this and then you realize they have many strong parts in this whole AI bubble. In one part, they have they are not as dependent on media as everyone else. They are part of the circular economy, but not that much. They are the only ones kind of competing with ChatGPT, even though like ChatGPT takes most of the market. They have enough numbers to. They have more numbers than the competition if you don't consider ChatGPT, And then remember, it's fucking Google. So, like, yeah, you can maybe see the case for that. Also, you have the other part of they are the vegan. They have the biggest company in expanding all this. They are just expanding even more. Um, the whole problem with Gemini being everywhere and them not really competing with the other, not being in a narrative around, for example, Anthropic and OpenAI's hacking, for example. So yeah, like, and the legal stuff, whatever. So you have all these two things. Like, at the end of the day, 260 $62,000 billion against um, $25 billion in revenue. That's really a number you can't ignore. So yeah, that's where we have. So I would say maybe, and I don't remember. I don't take off the table that maybe there is an AI company no one knows out there, that yeah, no one knows the name of the company, no one knows that company exists, but maybe if the bubble bursts, when the bubble bursts and everyone goes down, they will jump in and they will be the next Amazon. But yeah, who knows? And then we have the other question. Yeah, you know, you know who I am talking about. You know what it is. Sadly, yeah, this is another China video. Boo. And this is the thing, like generally, like China generally is my one of my biggest concern around the bubble because many factors of the like this is the thing, like many times I already make my case for China. My thing is like, yeah, they have that many things that make the case of the bubble. It doesn't really affect China that much. For example, the negativity of the people in China, they really don't have that. The electricity grief and whatever, they don't really have that much of a problem there. Like, mostly because their electricity grid are better there and more modern than in the United States. So that's why, and they are pushing for more green energy, and that means like the problem with the electricity is not as big as they are. Then we have the narrative of, for example, their models being way cheaper and as potent as the American ones. But so you see all that and say, yeah, China has kind of has figured AI out than America. And for example, many of the videos I saw, many thought pieces I have read, many mention China as one of the cases that the AI might burst. Maybe tomorrow China creates AGI, for example, and bursts the American bubble, and China stays king of AI. Like, I have seen those cases, but the thing is, yes, like, yes and no. In the case of, even though all these things have happened, you also see that they mostly are said, yeah, they are big in manufacture and robotics, but not really into AI. Like me, and for example, like something I forgot to mention in my China video is I use Bilibili. Bilibili is the Chinese YouTube basically. I watch there time to time, specifically to see how the bubble is handling there, and it's interesting. I think it's really interesting how the AI bubble stuff is being talked to, because here in Mexico, no one is talking about the bubble. Straight up, like I have seen articles talking against AI or trying to ground the AI topic to say, hey, look at this, like really, like this doesn't make is bad, whatever. It's not as the big deal, whatever. I have seen those articles, I have seen those videos, but I haven't seen many people like. Generally, I think I only seen two videos, Spanish slash Mexican videos talking about the bubble and saying this is a bubble. But other than that, I haven't seen much of that. Compare, like, for example, like if a good example is if you watch my playlist, the playlist I have in my channel, most of those videos are English talking. I think the other the only exception is some UK, Europe channels, and one of the Greece South Asian channel. Other than that, most of the and for example, the Greece channel, the South Asian channel, he speaks in English. So yeah, most of I think like 99% of channels are English speaking. So yeah, I think that's an interesting analysis about this topic. In the case of China, when I see Bilibili and I Google when I put AI bubble, I only have seen 5 videos. One of them was an analysis of an American people, like an upload of like an interview of tech people. I had only seen one Chinese video that talks about the bubble. And the other thing I think is interesting is the culture. Well, what I mean with the culture is, for example, if you, in my case, because you know my algorithm of my personal channel is has many AI stuff on there because I have to be in topic for these videos. Um, well, most of those channels, um, I see a lot of like your ChatGPT is your Gemini's, all this stuff, for example. And in the case of Bilibili, most of them are also ChatGPT and Gemini and whatever. I only have seen little people, not little people, but a small amount of people talking about DeepSeek or talking about Kimi, for example. So I think that like that make me like I don't live in China, but that make for example in the case of that South Asian channel, when he talks about that with his partner, he says, "Oh yeah, my cousin used ChatGPT for work." So even there in Asia, their Chinese models are not as popular as the Americans one. So yeah, generally like who really I think like that might most prove something, but really maybe there is a case. Maybe you can say yeah, it's bullshit. You take some, you grab some, whatever. Like I have seen many things saying in favor of China will like an objective truth is China will be affected because the Chinese economy is also kinda related and dependent of the American one. That's it. Like they only for that fact. Like the only reason they went into AI is because the United States went into AI, as the same of the rest of the planet. So maybe the bubble is going to affect them too. Also, I only like wonder how the dot-com bubble affect and the other bubbles affected China, for example. Like a video where I saw like comparing the AI bubble and the dot-com bubble, they said, "Hey, I was in Australia and the dot-com bubble didn't affect there, but I was looking in markets around Europe and wherever, and those markets were affected by the dot-com bubble." So, and in that video said, yeah, but now because Australia is more close to America, when the United States, uh, the bubble is going to affect them also. So yeah, yeah, is that those interesting things, and I also think that yeah, China is definitely going to be affected also by that. For example, like China is being affected by the Iran war and the oil and the sort of a moose. So yeah, I think it's also going to be affected by by the AI bubble, type shit. Um, uh, yeah, I think that's everything I want to say. Um, I think for example, the other thing I want to say is China bursting the American bubble. I think that moment already passed 2 times. Like I said, like I want to make a full video about the re analyzing the South Asian AI bubble. But like I said in this video, that bubble basically burst because of China. They say maybe they are going to make chips as well, and that what makes the bubble burst there. Well, you can say DeepSeek. When DeepSeek came out, the whole AI market went down, but then they recovered, and now it's like nothing happened. And now with uh, Kiwi or Kokimi or whatever, the new one that said that always in par with the new ChatGPT or whatever, the market didn't even move. Like yeah, there were many articles, but the market didn't move. So yeah, I generally think like maybe if China again creates AI or super intelligence or whatever, that I don't think so. I don't think no one's going to fucking achieve that. Honestly, low key, like China will have to create something as bigger and amazing that everyone use in that point ASAP to burst bubble. But I think that moment, like the South Korea AI bubble bursting moment, already passed 2 times, and it didn't like that similar event already passed 2 times, and the bubble didn't burst. So yeah, I don't think that's going to make the bubble burst right. Like I don't think China is going to be the cause of the AI bubble bursting. I think it's going to be something else. What's going to be? Who fucking knows? Like I really I like the I see someone said that the bubble is going to burst by something mundane, something that maybe already had happened, and we're going to see that in history books. I think it's going to basically burst the moment the machine stops working, like the moment the bubble stops receiving money, or there's something happens and like the narrative changes. I generally think it's going to be because of the the I forgot something about taxes changing. I forgot the name of that in November. I don't want to give a date, low key, because that's fake hope, I guess. But still, let's see what happens. I think it's going to be soon. The reason why I think it's going to be soon is basically of how OpenAI and Anthropic are talking about. I already said in my Elon Musk KPO video, it's weird all the AI companies are suddenly going for the stock market for money. I think it's weird that OpenAI and Anthropic are so desperate for going into their IPO as soon as possible. I think it's interesting that Nvidia recently just like the Nvidia make the bubble bigger. The video I already made. That I think it's like why they are funding even more AI stuff. Doesn't that mean their money is already dry? You know, and that's why they are going for more and more and more. After that, where they going to go? Generally, when the APO fails, where are they going to go now? You know. Anyway, that's my video. Goodbye.